For centuries, humanity has stared into the unknown, wondering what happens after the final heartbeat. For religion, death was a passage. For science, it was an end. But a growing number of researchers are beginning to question that finality. They are uncovering evidence suggesting that consciousness may not vanish with the body. It may, in some form, persist, not as fantasy or faith, but as data. At the intersection of quantum physics and neuroscience, a quiet revolution is beginning to reshape how we think about life, death, and what might lie beyond. To understand why, we must first ask, what is consciousness? For decades, neuroscience has treated it as an emergent property of the brain, a byproduct of neural complexity. Yet despite advanced brain imaging and artificial intelligence models simulating neural processes, no scientific framework has yet explained how electrical activity becomes subjective experience. This puzzle, known as the hard problem of consciousness, remains unsolved. Dr. David Chalmers, a cognitive scientist from New York University, once said, "We can explain behavior, but we cannot explain experience." If consciousness truly arises from matter, why can no equation describe its emergence? Quantum physics introduces a possible bridge. In the 1920s, physicists like Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg revealed that subatomic particles behave differently when observed. The observer effect showed that measurement, or consciousness itself, changes outcomes. For decades, this was treated as a mathematical quirk. But new research suggests the observer may be more than a passive spectator. Dr. Henry Stapp, a theoretical physicist at UC Berkeley, proposed that consciousness and quantum events might be entangled, influencing each other in subtle ways. Mind and matter, he wrote, are complementary aspects of one underlying reality. The theory is still controversial, yet it opens profound questions. If observation can affect particles at the quantum level, could consciousness also interact with the physical world beyond the brain? This idea echoes through studies in biophysics, such as Dr. Stuart Hameroff and Sir Roger Penrose's Orchestrated Objective Reduction Theory, ORCH-OR. According to their hypothesis, microtubules, tiny protein structures inside neurons, may sustain quantum processes that give rise to awareness. In 2014, a team at the Max Planck Institute in Germany found that microtubules could retain quantum coherence even at body temperature, a discovery that once seemed impossible. If quantum activity contributes to consciousness, it could explain why awareness might continue briefly after clinical death. In 2018, researchers at the University of Southampton conducted one of the largest studies on near-death experiences, involving over 2,000 cardiac arrest patients. About 40% reported some form of awareness after the heart had stopped. Some recalled verifiable details of resuscitation procedures, conversations, sounds, instruments. Dr. Sam Parnia, who led the study, concluded, consciousness may not cease immediately after death. It may continue for minutes, perhaps longer. Such findings challenge the traditional line dividing brain activity and conscious perception. Parallel studies in the United States and the Netherlands have echoed similar results. The Dutch cardiologist Dr. Pim van Lommel, in a 10-year study published in the Lancet, found that 18% of resuscitated patients reported consistent experiences, panoramic life reviews, feelings of unity, encounters with light. Remarkably, these accounts occurred even when EEG readings showed flat brain activity. Van Lommel proposed that consciousness might be non-local, existing beyond space and time, using the brain not as its source, but as a receiver. Like a radio, when the device breaks, the signal does not end, it simply stops being received. Skeptics argue that these experiences are hallucinations caused by anoxia, a lack of oxygen, or neurochemical surges during trauma, and while those factors explain some cases, they fail to address the accuracy of certain perceptions during complete cortical shutdown. In one notable account from the AWARE study, a man described the exact sequence of medical interventions performed on him after cardiac arrest, including the rhythm of a defibrillator. His brain, according to EEG, was inactive for more than 2 minutes. It's a single data point, but it raises a scientific dilemma. How can perception occur in the absence of brain function? Meanwhile, quantum biology continues to deepen the mystery. In 2022, a group of researchers at the University of Tokyo demonstrated quantum coherence in photosynthesis, showing that living systems can sustain quantum effects under biological conditions. If plants and bacteria use quantum principles to process light, could the human brain, a far more complex system, do the same to process consciousness? The implications are staggering. It suggests that life itself is interwoven with quantum information and sao si jaffer naubam, berbaksen trauen, an crow bermaum, Bernau mind down Bauer that death, rather than an end, might simply represent a transformation of that information into another state. Even mainstream physicists, like Dr. John Wheeler from Princeton, hinted at this connection decades ago. Wheeler proposed the participatory anthropic principle, suggesting that the universe requires observers to exist, that reality is, in part, co-created through consciousness. "We are participants in bringing the universe into being," Wheeler wrote. This idea reappears today in quantum cosmology and information theory, where reality may be viewed as a vast field of entangled data. Kan Thorn Don Deningers. Both shaping and observing each other across the cosmic fabric. Yet, science must walk carefully here. None of these theories prove the existence of an afterlife, but together, they suggest that consciousness may not be fully reducible to biology. It may be a fundamental feature of the universe, woven into the same quantum field that gives rise to particles, light, and time itself. As Dr. Max Tegmark from MIT once said, consciousness could be a new state of matter, not made of particles, but of information itself. If this is true, then death might not be destruction, but transition, a change in the configuration of information within the quantum fabric of reality. Researchers are beginning to explore what this means for our understanding of existence. If consciousness continues beyond the body, then awareness could be non-local, untethered from time. The universe may not be a machine, but a network of interdependent observers. In this view, every thought, emotion, and act of compassion radiates into the quantum field, imprinting the cosmos with meaning. Nothing is lost. It only changes form. The love we give, the empathy we share, the awareness we cultivate, all might echo long after our physical story ends, written not in atoms, but in information. In the end, the question is not whether consciousness survives death, but whether death was ever real to begin with. From a quantum perspective, energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Perhaps the same is true for the mind. Life and death may be two movements in one eternal symphony. As science peels back the layers of reality, we are invited to see ourselves not as fragile creatures awaiting an ending, but as expressions of a field that never ceases. Maybe consciousness is not born, and therefore can never die. It simply moves from one form of being to another, a ripple returning to the ocean from which it came.